What's up, everybody? This is Rylan from Land Insights, and today I'm bringing to you a new feature release that we added to our comping tool. Everyone loves our comping tool, so we figured we'd just keep making it even better. So this was a new addition we added to the comping tool, and it's pretty crazy. We've already started using it in our business, and it's making our offers better. It's making our negotiation better, and we're just more accurate. So I'm in here on our Land Insights map, and let's say Mr. Gerald over here wanted to sell his land. So I'm in the general mapping view inside Land Insights right here, data platform map. You can search your properties by parcel, owner, GPS, whatever. But let's say this guy wanted to sell here. I brought on my data layers, last purchase price here. So we have county recorded purchase prices and dates assigned to properties. This works great for disclosure states, non-disclosure states. Obviously, the county doesn't report that, so it's not going to show up as much. But in disclosure states, this is an insane tool. So we've got this set up. We also have assessed value if you want to see county assessed value. So the county assessed this property at $24,500. But what's more important, in my opinion, is the last purchase price and date. So we can see here this property was bought and recorded, bought it for $15,000 8 years ago. So he bought this back in, so it's 2026 now. He bought this back in 2018. So he bought it for $15,000. So let's say he wanted to sell it to us. We need to figure out what the value is. So in addition to that, we also have MLS overlays. So I have MLS comp selected on. This is available to starter and pro plans, not the light plan, but last purchase price, it's available to all plans. So I have 10 to 19 acres selected. So we can see comps in the area. So our blue right here, we can see this 10 acres listed for $37,000 on the market right now. And you can go look at that listing right now. But that hasn't sold yet. We want to look at what's sold. So our greens are what's sold. So 10 acres, this sold for $30,000. And you can go look at that if you want. And there it is, $30,000. And you can even confirm this is the county recorded data. It actually sold for $30,000 6 months ago. So sometimes on an MLS listing, it may show $30,000, but maybe they negotiated lower. This is a way we can actually confirm what it sold for. Whereas this property right here, this is 10.01 acres. This was listed at $35,000, but it actually sold at $20,000. So the seller just wanted to get rid of it, I'm assuming, so they sold it cheap. But everything else on the market is listed at $37,000 basically. So we can assume like we're probably valued at between $30,000 and $35,000. Now with this guy, bought his land for $15,000 in 2018, maybe we can offer like $20,000. That way this guy walks away with $5,000 extra cash in his pocket, so it was a good investment. So if he wanted to sell to us, we could go make an offer at $20,000, and it's kind of a win-win situation. Like the guy made money on his investment, and we're making an offer that's still profitable on our end. So we can confirm what the values are that way. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up another property. So let's say this guy wanted to sell his land. It's 0.92 acres, but we have very limited land comps. So we can go comp property. If you're on the pro plan, you can go comp your property. This is generally where I work out of. It's going to show you a bunch of information on the property, less than 30% flood zone, 30% wetland. It's in an HOA, and this guy lives inside the zip code, so he's local to the area. And then we can set up our comps and see, what comps are available in the area. So this property is 0.92 acres, so we're currently looking at 0.2 to 1 acres. I might up this to 2 acres. And we're going to see comps in the area. And then, of course, if you have your overlay on, we can see last purchase price as well in here. So let's start looking. So you're going to see we also have prices associated with houses. So you can look at the houses and see what the houses are worth as well. So this not only works for land, it works for houses. So this guy bought this land 48 years ago, and we don't have a value attached because it's not recent. It's probably an old deed in the back room of the county office that they'd never recorded into their system. Whereas if you look at more recent sales, we're going to have a price associated to it. Like 1 year ago, this house sold for $395. But anyways, we're trying to comp land. So There's two approaches you can take to comping land with developed houses around it. One being go look for land comps. And if you don't have land comps, then you can just use house comps and do a general calculation. And I'll show you that calculation in a minute. So let's go look for some land comps in the area. Let's see if there might be anything even smaller. No. Okay, so this sold for $85,000. Okay. It's 2 septic systems, public water available. But there's like, it's kind of iffy. 2 septic permits may be possible pending soil or rock depth study. So it's kind of an iffy situation. This is listed at 132, so higher than that. This one might be like more ready to build. Yeah, it seems like this one's more ready to build. So like, yeah, I'm iffy on comps out here. There's not a lot in the general area. 147. So this 1 acre sold for 147. So like, I don't know if I want to rely on this because this was an iffy one, but I'm just not sure in the general area what this property is worth. So we might have to go with the house comp. So we want to look at new builds. We want to figure out what new construction builds are worth. So I'm just going to go back here and I'm going to look for like the most recent sold properties. And I'm going to look at when those were built. So this one sold 2 years ago for 700 grand. Let's see when that was built. 2019. So decently recent. Let's look at more recent sales. So this sold at 390 4 years ago. That was sold in 1991, so that's not a new construction. We don't want to factor that in. Five months ago, this sold for 879,000. That was a new build, 2020. So new builds are going around 800,000 out here. This one built in 2020 sold for 885,000. So new builds are worth like 800, 900 grand. So let's just be conservative. Let's say it's worth $800,000. $800,000 as a new construction build. So with land, like builders, they're willing to buy the land at 10 to 20% of the new construction build value. So they want to buy the land at 10 to 20% of the home's value when they sell it. So let's do that calculation. So let's say it's worth $800,000. Then we're going to want to do 800,000 times 0.1, which is 10%. So on the low end, it's worth 80 grand. On the high end, it's worth 20%. So it's worth between 80 and $160,000. So I can just put notes in here if I want. Okay, and remember comps, we saw that one comp at like 80, we saw another around 140. So that makes sense. It's worth between like 80 and $160,000. Let's look at the location we're in. So we are in like outside Nashville. So we're outside Nashville. Everyone wants to build houses in Nashville right now. So we might be leaning towards the higher end. So honestly, I'm going to lean more towards that higher end. I'm going to say like 140K value. So we can make an offer at maybe 70K and can move up to 80K if needed. So if you want to negotiate, I would say like let's go up to $90,000 if necessary. And then all this is saved. So you can save this link and put it in your CRM, which is what I commonly do. So I'll just copy this link, save it in my CRM. So I can always go back to these notes, go back to my comps. So yeah, that's how I do it with Pro. That's generally how I operate my system. Now let's go to a even different situation. So let's say someone wanted to sell their house. So this happens more frequently than most people think. I operate a land business, but a lot of people want to sell their house to me, and I'm open to doing that. I might wholesale the house. So let's say this person wanted to sell their house. It's built in 2006. They bought it for 132,000 13 years ago. Let's see if property values have gone up at all. So we want to see something built like at this same timeline as this house. We don't want to look at a new construction build because obviously a new construction would be worth more than this older house. So we want to go looking for stuff built around that time. So this was built in 2010. This sold 4 years ago for 249. I'd like to see something more recent. So we can look around. This sold 7 months ago for 360 grand. This was built in 2006. So this is a great comp. So this is 1,400 square feet. Our property is 1,400 square feet. So very, very similar house. And I think now it's probably worth 360 grand. So you can go ahead and figure out what kind of offer you'd make from there. I'd probably offer like 215 grand and go up as necessary. So yeah, we can see what house values have gone up by looking at, similar structures in the year they were built. We can also see if this guy has a mortgage. So yeah, he had a 30-year mortgage, matures in 16 years, so he's halfway through his mortgage, so we can utilize that as well. So yeah, that's our new comping tool edition. It's very useful. It's going to save a ton of time. I never really thought about it, but like this is saving a ton of time. I used to have to go through each individual property and go look at when it was built. But when you have a map overlay, you know which properties to click on and which ones to investigate. So with it overlaid, it's extremely useful, and it's saving us like probably 45 minutes to an hour a day since we're at such a high comping scale. So super cool addition. I recommend if you're at a very high scale, you use the Pro comping tool. But if you're just doing your first couple deals, maybe just get on that starter plan on Land Insights and utilize the MLS overlays in addition to this. All right, guys, hope you enjoy the new tool, and we're working on even more comping tool features right now. So stay tuned. They're going to be pretty groundbreaking. All right, have a good one.